Okay, let's talk about one of the biggest moments in a person's life, that first year of university. For so many people, it's a huge, exciting, and kind of terrifying transition. But have you ever wondered what actually separates the students who totally thrive from those who really struggle? Well, today we're going to dig into the research to find out what the science says are the key ingredients for success. So, first up, the University Transition Challenge. And it really is a challenge, right? The jump from high school to university life is just massive. It's full of brand new freedoms and opportunities. Yeah, but it can also be pretty overwhelming. And that brings us right to the big question at the heart of it all. What really makes the difference? Why is it that some students seem to just hit the ground running and have an amazing first year, while other people have a much harder time finding their feet? That's exactly what we're going to unpack. Now, to find the real answers, we're not just going to rely on stories or guesswork. We're looking at a systematic review of the evidence, which is basically the best way to cut through all the noise and get to what truly predicts success. So, what is a systematic review? Well, you can think of it as the gold standard for research. It's not about one person's opinion or one single study. It's a method where researchers go out and find all the evidence on a topic, check it for quality, and then pull it all together into one clear, reliable summary. It's pretty much the most powerful way to find a definitive answer. And in this case, after looking at a literal mountain of studies, the researchers narrowed it all down to just 27. These 27 studies were the highest quality, the most relevant ones that really held the clues for what makes or breaks a student's first year at university. All right, let's get into the findings, starting with the risk factors. The research first points out these common traps, the kinds of hurdles that, if you know about them ahead of time, you can actually learn to anticipate and hopefully avoid. So a lot of the findings really come down to this central idea, this contrast. On one side, you have risk factors, which are the things that tend to get in the way of success. And on the other side, you've got protective factors. These are the skills and mindsets that actually help you flourish. We're going to start by looking at the risks. So across all that research, 3 big risk factors kept showing up. Procrastination, yeah, that one's pretty obvious, we've all been there. But then there's perfectionism, which is a bit sneakier. It's when you set the bar so impossibly high for yourself that you end up feeling anxious and you just get paralyzed, unable to even start. And then there's this one, alexithymia. It sounds really technical, I know, but what it basically means is having a hard time identifying your own emotions. And you can see why that's a problem, right? If you don't realize you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you're not going to know when to take a break or ask for help. Okay, enough about the pitfalls. Let's flip the script, because the research also found this incredibly powerful set of protective factors. Think of these as the mindsets and skills that act like a shield, really helping students to succeed and thrive. And what's really cool is these protective factors aren't all just one thing. They actually fall into these different categories, things related to your mindset, your practical skills, and just your general well-being. So let's break down what these are. So here they are, the big 5. First, adaptability, which is huge because university is all about change. Then there's resiliency. That's your ability to bounce back when you get a bad grade or face a setback. A growth mindset is that core belief that you're not stuck with the abilities you have, that you can get smarter through hard work. Self-regulated learning is all about taking charge, setting your own goals, managing your time. And finally, emotional intelligence. Kind of the opposite of that risk factor we talked about. It's being able to understand and manage your emotions in a healthy way. These are your tools for success. And honestly, this next part is the best part, because the research doesn't just point fingers and say, well, some people have it and some people don't. The most empowering thing here is that these protective factors, they aren't fixed traits you're born with. They are absolutely skills you can build. Think of it like building your own personal toolkit. So how do you actually do it? Well, the research points to a pretty simple action plan. Step 1, just know the risks. Being aware that procrastination or perfectionism might trip you up is a massive first step. Step 2, look at your strengths. Which of these protective factors you already have? Are you pretty adaptable? Great, lean into that. And step 3, actively choose an area to work on. Maybe you want to get better at managing your time or practice bouncing back from small failures to build that resiliency muscle. And this isn't just a thought experiment. The whole point of this research, as the authors say here, is to move things forward. The ultimate goal is to use these findings to create actual interventions, programs and tools that can help every student have a better chance at a successful transition. So, at the end of the day, what this all shows us is that success in that first year of university, it isn't really about luck or just being a genius. It's about a set of skills that you can actually identify and learn. The research basically gives us a map of the landscape. It shows us the pitfalls to avoid and the paths that lead to success. The only question left is, where are you going to choose to go? Thanks for tuning in.